Hello everyone. You're most welcome in my official YouTube channel Agriculture Varsity again with that new topic. And the new topic is depend on the weed, and we have to clear that all doubts which is related to the weeds and discuss about that classification of weeds, what's the importance of weeds, and what is the special characters found that weeds which makes better weeds to our crops. So let's start that topic without any delays and let's continue towards our topic. And that is very special topic which is found that in first sem BSc Agriculture, okay, and in sixth sem the weed management also, and different types of crop production technology subjects and critical crop production subjects. So here is the content of the weeds, importance of weeds, classification of weeds, top weed competition, concept of weed management, principle of weed management, and methods of weed management. So here we have to study that lot of contents, but we will complete that contents in segments because in one video is not possible that cover that all contents because video is too lengthy. Okay, so we will start from the first one and after that complete that second one. Okay, so two headings we will cover today in this video. So start from that weeds. So in weed heading, first we will know what is weed. Okay, with that definition clear that all doubts, and after that when that clear that things, then what is the characters and importance of the weed. Okay, so that both things we will cover today, means total introductory session is that. And is there above mentioned that lecture 7. Okay, so in fundamentals of agronomy BSc Agriculture first sem, so that is also chapter belongs to, and in 6th sem that weed management subject. So is there the also we need to study that same things about that weed. Okay, so this is chapter very important for the agriculture study. So now the first thing, what is weed scheme here? So is there given a Great Britain farmer Jethro Tull was the first person who have defined weed in 1731. Okay, so the Jethro Tull is that first one which defined that weed in 1731, means first time, and with that things he was also known and famous as a father of weed science. Okay, so what the definition is given there. So definition is there, a weed is plant growing where it is not desired, the first things. And the second thing is about weed, a weed is a plant growing out of its place. And third things, any plant not sown in the field by the farmer is out of place and is called weed. And the next one, any plant or vegetation excluding fungi interfering with the objectives or requirement of people called weed. So here is the 4 types of definition and 4 types of describe that weed definition. Okay, so that the means of which plant where it is not desired but it's germinated, so we can call that weed, and which is not growing, okay, and not growing by the farmers, and it's come from the out of the place, means from outside of the place, from the out of the field, that is not related to the which crop is desired. Okay, so that means that plant is weed. And if any plant is that which is not sown by the farmers, that is not sowing as a crop by the farmers in field, but it's germinated, whatever that is plant, no matter it's a crop plant, it's a not crop plants, okay, and it's a any herbs, whatever types of category, whatever the category is that of plant, but It's not sown by the farmers in places, but it's germinated. So that means that is wheat. And if any plant vegetation, excluding fungi interfering, if any plant is that, any vegetation is that, which is interfering that objectives. Objective means one farmer is sowed that crop. So with that, some objectives like is taking the highest productivity, higher production, higher returns from that field, means that all things it's desired by the farmers, so that all are the objectives of the farmer. So if any vegetation, any plant, any herbs is disturbing that aim, okay, and interfering with that attaining that objectives or aim, so that means this, that was, and that plant was weed. Okay, so you can also include that four definition in one, and any one you will write. Okay, so that will be true. So totally concept is that of weed means any plant which is not desired by the farmers, which is not related to the place, come from the outside, okay, which is not sown by the farmers, and disturbing to attain that your aim, or interfering to attain your aim with that crop. So that all are regions created by any plant, so that means that plant is weed. Okay, so I hope that concept of the weed definition and what is weed is it clear. Now it is clear. Okay, so let's move towards the next slide and let's discuss about the second things. इसे एक बार हम हिंदी में भी देख लेते हैं कि सबसे पहला क्वेश्चन जो आता है वो खरपतवार क्या है। तो 1731 में जेथ्रो वो पहले व्यक्ति थे, ग्रेट ब्रिटेन के एक किसान परिवार से बिलोंग करते थे, वो पहले ऐसे व्यक्ति थे जिन्होंने इसको परिभाषित किया। ठीक है, उसके बाद इसकी परिभाषाओं में अलग अलग तरह से डेवलपमेंट होता गया और इनकी परिभाषा कुछ निकल करके यूं आई कि खरपतवार एक पौधा है जो वहां उगता है जहां इसकी जरूरत नहीं है या फिर नहीं होती है, यानी कि बिना जरूरत वाला पौधा। यह खरपतवार एक ऐसी पौधा है या ऐसा पौधा है जो अपनी जगह से अलग उगता है, यानी कि वहां पर उसकी जरूरत नहीं थी लेकिन फिर भी वो वहां पर उगा हुआ है, या उस जगह से वो बिलोंग नहीं करता जहां पर वह उगा हुआ है। कोई भी पौधा जो किसान द्वारा खेत में नहीं बोया गया हो तथा जो अपनी जगह पर नहीं होता है उसे खरपतवार कहते हैं। तो ऐसा पौधा जो किसानों ने नहीं लगाया, अपने खेत में नहीं लगाया, लेकिन फिर भी वो वहां उगा हुआ है, उसकी जरूरत नहीं है और वो उस जगह से बिलोंग भी नहीं करता है। ठीक है, इस तरह का कोई भी पौधा खरपतवार कहलाता है। कवक को छोड़कर कोई भी पौधा या वनस्पति जो लोगों के उद्देश्यों या आवश्यकता में हस्तक्षेप करता है, यानी कि हर कोई किसान अपनी फसल को लगाता है किसी ना किसी उद्देश्य की प्राप्ति के लिए। अगर उस उद्देश्य की प्राप्ति में कोई भी पौधा हानि पहुंचा रहा है या फिर किसी भी तरीके से कोई भी हस्तक्षेप कर रहा है, तो इसका मतलब वह पौधा खरपतवार है। तो इस तरह से हमने हिंदी में भी खरपतवार की परिभाषा को जाना। So now the second thing is discuss about the characteristics of weeds, because why weeds are better than our crops. Okay, so what is the characters are found that weeds, and how can we find out in our fields that is weed or not weed? So behalf of definition you can find, okay, easily find that weeds in your fields, but some characteristics of weeds is need to know, because that is make more effective that weeds. So in that all characters, the first one is come prolific seed production. So produces larger number of seeds compared to crops, and in general annual weeds are characterized by the production of very large number of seeds, and seed production varies from 40 to 1,96,000 number of seeds per plant. So that is the directly mean of the prolific seed production. That means huge number of seed is produced, means capability of weeds are found to produce huge number of seeds. Okay, so that means the prolific seed production. And is that the minimum is 40, but highest number of seed production by the one plant, that is recorded 1,96,000 number of seeds per plant. Okay, so with that examples we will see. And is their example is also given that weed species and number of seeds, average number of seeds per plant is given here. And with that, the first and top number is given Amaranthus species, and Amaranthus species that is produces 1,96,000 seeds per hectare, and that is a very huge number, okay, for any plant to produce the seeds. Suppose that if any one plant is remaining on the fields and produces that all seeds, and which is more than 1,96,000, which may be varies, okay, because that is given the only average number of seeds. So how many plants will come in next year and next season will be appear on your field, okay? So that is too risky for our crops. So that's why the Amaranthus species has the capability to produce 1,96,000 average production of the seeds. And is there also found that Portulaca species that is 1,93,000, which is number on 7. Portulaca species 1,93,000 seeds per plant. And is there also found that Solanum nigrum, which is produces 1,78,000 seeds per plant. So that is very huge number of that seed production. Okay, so that's why that is prolific seed production. And the minimum is found that Cyprus rotundus. Okay, Cyprus rotundus has found that only 40 seeds per plant, but that is the average ratio. It's maybe more and maybe lower than. Okay, it will be depend on the nature of the plant and according to climatic and environmental conditions. But that's the average number, means also that is minimum recordance. And the second point is found that vegetative reproduction. In characteristics, the vegetative reproduction is the very main part of that wheat plants. Okay, and that is main part for that all plants, our crops also. But the some vegetative reproduction capabilities found at weeds, means different type of capabilities are found, and they can reproduce itself by that uses the many types, and the type is given here by the tubers and nuts, rhizomes and root stock in grasses, bulbs, roots, stem, offsets, and by leaf also, because different using the different parts of the plant, they can reproduce itself. Okay, so tubers and nuts, like nut grass is given that example, and rhizomes and root stock, so an example is given like is Bermuda grass and Johnson grass. By the bulbs, so wild onion, wild garlic, and roots, so Canada thistle, and stems, so dodder means Cascuta species. By the using the stems, they can it can produce, and offsets, so aquatic weeds, and by leaves, so is that the Kalankoi pinnata, which is also known as azuba and patharchata. Okay, so these are the some weeds, but maybe some plants have contained as their medicinal values. Okay, so but it's all our categories comes in that categories of weeds, so that's why it has the different abilities to regrow of that plant. And in one plant may be found that 2 and 3 different abilities to regrow. It's not matter ki in one plant only one type of reproduction system will be found. Okay, so some plants contains that different types of and many types of that reproduction system is found. Like some plants can also produce by the rhizomes, root stock, and stem also, and leaf also. Okay, uses also stem, roots, the different types of, and seed production is the another one. Okay, so seed production is the main part, but they can also with that, means by the seeds it's okay, but they contain also 2 and 3 methods to reproduce for itself. Okay, so that is the vegetative reproduction make special to the weeds. They can produce by yourself in everywhere, in every climatic conditions, because that adaptability is very good with that reproduction system. And in our crops, what that, so in our crops that vegetative reproduction system are found, but only 1 or 2 types are found. If vegetative reproduction is found, so then seed reproduction is very weak, and seed reproduction is higher found, means higher effective, then vegetative reproduction is weed. But in weed in weed that vegetative reproduction is higher effective. Okay, it also works in a high, with the higher capabilities. But seed production is the another part which also takes place, and they can reproduce by the seeds also. So that is the different abilities of the found that vegetative reproduction in wheat. The third character is found. Third character is seed dormancy. Okay, so it has that good capability of such seed dormancy, which is very good for that weeds. It is defined as a state in which a viable seed fails to germinate, even under favorable conditions for plant growth. So by the definition, it seems not good for that seeds, but it's good for the wheat seeds. Why? Because it is an efficient survival mechanism of weeds. Okay, and seed of the most of the weeds exhibit one or other type of dormancy, like inherent or innate dormancy, induced or secondary dormancy, and enforced dormancy by wild mustard and black mustard and wild oats respectively. So that dormancy is the another chapter. Okay, it's so have that classification of dormancy, it's too long, so we need to study also if you have to understand dormancy. So the dormancy chapter you have to study is that the inherent or innate type, that is the type of the dormancy, induced or secondary dormancy, forced dormancy. So that all are the types of the dormancies. So generally it is defined as a state in which viable seed fails to germinate. So by this reason fails to germinate, they can survive for long time in our soil. Okay, and where it's fallen down, so in soil they can survive for long time, like is 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, and 5 year also. Okay, there is not any restrictions. So if one season they will fail to germinate, so surely the next season or next to next season they will germinate automatically. Okay, because dormancy will be end after a long time. So that is good for seeds of the weeds, because they can germinate also after that ending the all plants. They can also appear after 2 years with that dormancy regions. Is there also point is given Avena fatua exhibit all the these kinds of dormancy, because this is the weed where that found that dormancy is more. So we have discussed the three types of characters, and now the fourth one, viability of seeds. Okay, so viability of seeds, wheat seeds do not lose their viability for years even under adverse condition. So wild mustard, chenopodium remain viable for 30 and 20 years respectively. So that means viable. Viable means they can be appear that plant after that many years also, means seed will remain in the soil for a long time, but after that long time they will not lose that viability of seed. Okay, so that will not lose that viability. So after that many years the plant may appear from the field. So that is a point 4 from the viability of seeds. The next one is that weed seed dispersal, and that characters are so amazing in weeds, because the dispersal of the seeds, that is very important portion to distribution of seeds of the weeds, and that is the biggest reason to everywhere the same types of weeds are found. So weed dispersal has no geographical boundaries. Okay, and common agents of weed dispersal are wind, water, animals, birds, organic manures, agriculture implements, and human beings. Okay, so that is no limit, no boundaries how much away that seed will be dispersed. But the common agents is also given: wind, water, animals, birds, and organic manures, agriculture implements, and human beings. Because that seeds of the wheat, some wheats are has very small seeds, and very small seeds means eaten by the bird. They can float in air and float in water, so they can travel from the one place to another place by that by the using this that resources. Okay, so and some wheat seeds has also wings of, because cottonous cover is there, and so in by the using wind they can float, and they can also travel in air, and very long distance traveled by that wheat seeds. Okay, so this the wheat seed dispersal character are very important from this seed character. Sixth character is wider adaptability. Wider adaptability means they have ability to thrive under adverse condition due to morphological and physiological conditions. Example: Tranthema carpetweed, Sorghum helipens, and Secarum spontaneum. So these are the some weeds, means as an example is given here. They have the wider adaptability, means different types of climatic conditions they can easily adopt it. Okay, and different types of climatic conditions, different types of environmental conditions, different types of the soil conditions, they can emerge, they can grow easily on that places. So wider adaptability it has. The seventh is modified structure in order to compete with crop plants. So it has also found that modified capabilities in structures, like is they are provided with hooks, stiff hairs, thorns, and spines. So these are the some special characters naturally found in that plants. They that characters makes special to our wheat plants for that competition of the crop plants, because it has that very earlier stage and very earlier growth stage are found, and in that also found that hooks, stiffers, and thorns and spines. Okay. So by the using that things uh, they can very fastest growth, and they can also uh, take that they can also take that means like us take the help from the other plants to going up. Okay, and for the growth of the plants, so no one crop plants can compete with that characters of the weeds. So the modified structure are found to compete with the crop plants. Example is given here: Argemone mexicana, Gentium, Tribulus, and Acaranthus species. The next structure means the next characteristics of that weed is follows. They have the capacity to germinate under varied conditions. So we have already talked about that different types of adaptability. Okay, but characteristically season bound. Okay, so season is matter, but not that soil conditions and environmental conditions are so much affected that weed germination. The peak period of germination always take place in certain season in regular succession year after year. And the germination synchronizes between weeds and crop plants, and they flower earlier and mature ahead of the crop they infest. Okay, so it has that earlier maturity capability are found, and very good, because after the germination that is a synchronizes between weeds and crop plants. So it has the growth ability are very higher to our crop plants rather than our crop plants, and is the peak period of germination always takes place in certain seasons in regular succession year after year. In other characters also, rapid establishment and growth of weed seedlings, tolerance to shedding effects by the crops at the time of establishment, and quick response to available soil moisture and nutrients, because it has the also absorbance capacity are higher rather than our crop plants. So most of the weeds possess C4 type of photosynthesis, which is an added advantage during moisture stress condition, and they possess extensive root system which go deeper as well as of creeping type, and generally our crop has no that deeper roots. Okay, so they are more capable to take from that inner layer of the soils water, nutrients, and different things. So that's why that with that due to these reasons, weed is easily compete our crops. Also is given that mimicry so resembles the crop plants. Morphological characters are similar to the crop plants, like is wild oat in wheat crop and Echinacea colonum in rice. So mimicry wheat, that is the very that is a type which is similar, looks like a crop plant. Okay, resembles the crop plants. Morphologically, characters are similar to the crop plants. So this example is given like is wild oat in wheat and Echinacea colonum in rice crop. And also resistant to herbicide in use, this weed is called excellent competitors, because the continuously use of the herbicides and same types of herbicides used to control that particular weed. So some weeds shows that resistancy towards herbicide. So that weeds are called excellent competitors. And most of the wheat seeds are small in size and contribute enormously to the seeds reserves, and wheat seed germinates earlier and their seedlings grow faster. With that seed characters, we have studied that seed characters with that introduction of the weeds. So here that all complete details about wheat, what is wheat, and what is the special characters of wheat which makes better than our crop. We have completed that about details about wheat and characteristics of wheat. And surely in next season we have next session we have complete that the next details like this importance and classification of wheats. Okay, so sure, just subscribe it my channel and watch continue for that updates about that agriculture knowledge. Thank you so much everyone.